Mr Etttershank.
Thank you, President. My question is to the Minister for Emergency Services. Accidental drug overdose deaths claim close to 2,000 lives each year in Australia, with opioids the most commonly involved. With potent novel synthetic opioids like nitazenes reaching our shores, that number will increase exponentially. Naloxone is a life-saving medication that can rapidly reverse the effects of opioid overdose. Queensland has become the latest state to train and equip its police officers to administer naloxone. The move follows a similar statewide trial in Western Australia, which saw naloxone added to the West Australian Police Force toolkit. We hope to see Victorian Police similarly equipped with this life-saving treatment in due course. However, as emergency workers are increasingly being called out to drug overdoses, I ask the Minister, will the government consider equipping all frontline emergency workers with naloxone?
Minister.
Thank you, President, and I thank Mr Etttershank for his question. Look, it's a really important issue, and obviously you'd be well aware of the work that Minister Stitt is doing in this space, and significant announcements this week, and including legislation that will facilitate the naloxone being available in vending machines for community use and the like. Your specific question about frontline emergency workers, and you've reflected on other jurisdictions and Victoria Police, but in relation to my role as Minister for Emergency Services, frontline workers would be confined to firefighters. FRV's 85 current stations are emergency EMR units, emergency medical response units. So many acronyms in ES. They already are trained to deliver first aid and CPR and respond to instances where they may hear that somebody is unconscious and the like. They are not currently permitted to administer any form of medication, and that extends to EpiPens, etc. The restrictions or the protocols that inform FRV firefighters' ability to conduct activities under EMR is a matter for AV, and there is an advisory committee that looks at these issues. So the issue you raise is an important issue. It's a contemporary issue, and I know that there's these types of conversations going on, but it is AV that sets those protocols. So it would be a matter for the Minister for Ambulance Services to directly respond to the specifics of your question, but I hope that my explanation of how it all fits in gives you some guidance in relation to how it works, and some comfort in the fact that, given the government's commitment to address drug-related harm, these are matters that many people are having conversations about, not directly within the remit of the Minister for Emergency Services, although in my role I would welcome conversations along the lines of you've presented.
Mr Etttershank, supplementary.
Thank you, President, and I thank the Minister for her response. My supplementary question may be better addressed to a different minister, but I'll be guided by the attorney on this one. Under Victoria's Good Samaritan legislation, naloxone can be legally administered by a bystander to treat a potentially fatal overdose. However, there are inconsistencies in the Victorian Managed Insurance Authority's indemnity advice to harm reduction organisations as to whether the administration of this overdose reversal drug is part of their core business. So organisations are advised that non-clinical workers administering naloxone may not be covered by professional indemnity in the event of an adverse outcome unless they have called 000 first and spoken to an emergency services operator. Now, this is often not viable. With novel synthetic opioids, even 30-second delay can lead to death or permanent injury. So I ask, what is the government doing or can do to ensure that non-clinical harm reduction workers are indemnified when administering naloxone?
Before I call the Minister, you may be right, Mr Etttershank, that it could be directed better to a different minister, but I'll let the Minister respond and maybe offer information outside the standing orders. Yeah, Minister.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that, President. That's where I was going to go. I think in your first question, although it didn't necessarily fit within the remit of the Minister for Emergency Services, I think that I hopefully gave you enough of an answer to acquit that, even though it would have been Minister for Ambulance Services. In relation to your supplementary, that is my view, and I think the President agrees, more appropriately directed to Minister Stitt. But given I answered your first one, can't refer it to her, so perhaps outside the standing orders, I'm pretty sure Minister Stitt would be happy to have a chat to you.